Here are some statistics from password surveys taken over the last couple of years. 58% of responders rely on memory alone to store passwords. 34% write them down on post-it notes or in notebooks. 51% regularly have to reset their passwords because they can't remember what they are. Hi everyone, I'm Dan, security consultant here at IT Partners. Usernames and passwords are an essential tool to keeping our environments secure. They're usually the first step to log in and connect to any of our business systems. They're literally the keys to our digital kingdom, keeping everything safe and secure. Or at least they should be. In 2022, 24 billion passwords were disclosed in various data breaches. This is up 65% from 2020. Of those 24 billion passwords, only a quarter, that's 6 billion, were a unique combination of usernames and passwords. It's estimated an average business employee needs to keep track of 191 passwords. So in a 50-person company, that's close to 10,000 passwords in the environment. Much of the time, forgetting a password can be a bit of an irritation. You changed your password before you went on holiday, and now you're back at work, and you can't remember how to get in to your email or your laptop. Occasionally, the consequences of forgetting a password can be more disastrous than that. We've all heard stories of people who've forgotten their password to a USB key, securing millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. That's a bad day. We're all subject to a phenomenon called password fatigue. So this is the anxiety and stress that goes along with having to manage and remember all of these passwords. In 2023, around 80% of confirmed breaches involved stolen, weak, or reused passwords. These passwords are used in many different types of attacks. Two of the more common ones are credential stuffing and password spraying. In a credential stuffing attack, a hacker takes a stolen username and password and attempts to use it against other services. For example, a username and password is taken in an attack for a LinkedIn account. The victim has used their corporate email to configure their LinkedIn account. The attacker takes this username and the password and attempts to log into other services, like Office 365, or corporate VPNs if they can be discovered, Amazon.com. If our victim isn't using a unique password and they're not using MFA on their Office 365 account, for example, our attacker now has credentials that will allow them to access this account. In a password spray attack, an attacker uses a single password against multiple accounts, instead of multiple passwords against a single account. This is a pretty common attack technique in corporate environments. Like the attacker takes this common password and attempts to use it across multiple accounts for a single service. This could be Microsoft 365, it could be Active Directory. Using unique passwords and MFA across all accounts goes a long way towards lowering the impact of this attack and possibly mitigating it completely. We have a password problem. We're being let down by basic password hygiene. Password hygiene is a practice of selecting, managing, and maintaining strong passwords and good habits. We can largely cover this with 3 areas: creating strong passwords, storing those passwords securely, and keeping them private. These habits should be additionally supported by regularly reviewing your password health, which I'll touch on later, and implementing MFA wherever possible. That'll be the subject of another video. Let's deal with password strength first. At some point you're bound to have seen this graphic. It's fairly straightforward to understand. With every additional character in length, every additional piece of complexity, you build a stronger password that takes a hacker longer to break. What the graphic doesn't inform you of is the additional things actually needed to make a strong password. And that is, it must be random and unique. Hive Systems, who put out this graphic, call it out in their research. People are very bad at creating truly random passwords. They use common letter or number substitutions and common words or pets' names, always capitalizing the first letter, or adding numbers or symbols to the end of the word because that's the grammatical structure that we're used to. So that being said, you could have the most random 50-character password in existence, but if you use that password across 15 accounts and one of them gets used in a breach, an attacker now has 15 opportunities to log into something. It's often said, hackers these days are not breaking in, they're logging in. Next, I'll talk about password privacy. This one's fairly self-explanatory, so I won't spend too much time on it. It means keeping passwords private and only sharing them when you absolutely have to. If they must be shared, they should be shared securely, so not via email or via a text message. There are services and technologies that will enable you to share passwords securely and safely. So now we'll tackle safe password storage. Safe password storage isn't putting passwords in a spreadsheet on your desktop. It isn't writing them on a notebook stored in your drawer. It isn't taking a screenshot of them on your phone and storing in your My Documents. It's certainly not saving them in your browser. These are all very insecure and easily accessible by anyone who can get access to your workstation or your physical workspace. The place they're stored should use encryption for the data at rest and, you guessed it, be password and MFA protected. So there are a few technical solutions to these three hygiene problems. Today I want to talk about the role of the password manager. A password manager is an application designed to generate and store secure, strong passwords. Keeps them protected in an encrypted vault behind a password and MFA. Many of them include monitoring services to see if any of your usernames or passwords have been disclosed in a breach or if your credentials are for sale somewhere. Many of them also have a secure mechanism for sharing passwords with other people.
A user sets up an account for a website and saves the details in Chrome's password manager. Browsers store this information in well-known locations. Here you can see the password is stored in an encrypted fashion. In the same location, they store the decryption key. There are scripts available on the internet that will decode this key without requiring user intervention. Files are stored this way to make migrating between browsers easy. With some browsers, it's possible to exfiltrate these files. The exfiltrated data can be imported directly into a remote browser and all of the passwords are recovered.
Key defenses against many types of password attack are strong, private, securely stored, random, unique passwords. Our password manager generates passwords for us, so we're getting truly random passwords. It's also generating unique passwords, so we're not reusing these passwords against multiple services. Because the password manager is generating and storing the passwords, we're no longer relying on memory for our complex, long, unique, random passwords. We now basically have to remember two: the password to log into our device and the password to log into our password manager. So we're now using strong, random, complex, long, unique passwords against all of our services. Our exposure to a lot of password attacks is mitigated. So credential stuffing, password sprays are going to be significantly less effective. Our password manager generates passwords for us, so we're getting truly random passwords. It's also generating unique passwords, so we're not reusing these passwords against multiple services. Because of the features in the password manager, there's a good chance if our credentials are disclosed in a breach that we'll be notified. I'd recommend reviewing your password policies or implementing one if you don't have any policies defined, educating your staff on password hygiene, which is useful to them in their personal lives as well, and implementing a password manager. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the IT Partners team. If you like this video, please check out the other videos in the series, and I'll see you next time.